This whole Jamal Adams thing with Gregg Williams now saying that he has Jamal Adams back and that the players need to get their money and all this other stuff. I mean, if I'm Joe Douglas, I'm calling in Gregg Williams. Hey, Greg, we just shut your mouth, man. Let me handle this part of it. You just handle the defense.
Listen, psycho.
Listen, you psychotic human being. You just coach, and I'll handle the other stuff. You lunatic. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was reading, given all the crap that now all of a sudden Jamal Adams has made up. And somehow has worked himself up into a frenzy because he feels, for some reason, disrespected. Getting picked 6th overall in the NFL draft is somehow disrespecting to him. And signing a $22.5 million contract, and it's all guaranteed, is somehow disrespectful to him. The Jets pick up the $9.86 million option for next year. That means that they have to pay him that money. Somehow that's disrespectful to him. Somehow he's manufactured in his brain that he has a fractured relationship with the Jets for some reason. I mean, does it get any more immature and childish than that?
No, I mean, he is following the playbook, though, of those who have come before him and gotten what they wanted by acting like this, so that's why he's doing that. Did you think, though, that maybe this was a strategic thing? Now, I know Gregg Williams is, as we mentioned, as we're joking around, he's a lunatic, but we think he's a great coach, but he is a lunatic, so he's very capable.
I'd want him as my defensive coach.
Yeah, me too.
Don't get me wrong.
Me too.
But he's crazy.
Yeah, he is. Right, but sometimes that plays into him being a great coach.
Right.
But there's without a doubt he could go rogue against the organization and do something like this. But do you think that there's any chance that this was a calculated move in which the Jets said, Adam Gase, Joe Douglas, Gregg Williams spoke and said, why don't we get Greg out there to give him a little support?
Maybe, I don't know.
Let's have, because Adam Gase can't.
A player's got to get his money.
Sure, great, perfect, even better. Go over the top so it seems like we're not colluding on this. We'll send, because everybody will believe that Gregg Williams will say something like that. You got to be the one. You support him because we got to get him back here. Because if he's got problems with Joe Douglas, he's got problems with Adam Gase. So if we say things, it's not going to matter. But if Gregg Williams says it, maybe that we could start to repair the relationship with the organization.
Let me ask you a question. With the exception of John Idzik, okay. When Mike Tannenbaum was here, when Mike McCagnon was here, and now Joe Douglas is here, did you ever find any of those guys to be bad guys that, you couldn't talk to, you couldn't have a conversation with, that they wouldn't give you, a certain amount of information, that didn't cost them anything? I mean, I always felt like we had great relationships, at least I did anyway, with all three of those guys. Mm-hmm. And I never felt like there was a bad bone in their bodies. Now, did they make a decision that was wrong, or wrong free agent here or wrong sign? Of course they did, but they also have made a lot of good decisions. I cannot wrap my head around the Joe Douglas that you and I know.
Right, he's trying to screw his best player publicly. It's not happening.
There's no way. That's why I just am flabbergasted over the fact that Jamal Adams has made this into some melodrama, and it gets supported by Manish Mehta. Somehow it's Adam Gase's fault, when I think in actuality there's co-head coaches here. I kind of feel like Gregg Williams is a co-head coach.
Well, it's because Adam Gase doesn't want anything to do with the defense, right? Which is a problem. Right. We've seen this with too many coaches where it's hey, I'm the offensive guy. I want to work with Sam Darnold. I'm going to hire a guy who's been a head coach before, who's a big personality as a defensive coordinator. I'm going to leave that to him. Yeah, I mean, Joe Douglas is probably just completely beside himself. I have done nothing to piss this guy off. Not a thing at all. And here we are in this particular situation. It's because Jamal Adams he's emotional. He's just and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing when it manifests itself into this, but he's a very emotional and sensitive player who is always operating at this very, very high level. And it's just he can't come down to earth to be like, okay, this is the way these things work, and I will eventually get paid. I mean, it's like every little thing that goes on, whether it's an Instagram comment or it's some false report by Jane Slater, who is the Jerry Jones pipeline to the world, or whatever it is. He's taking that and absorbing all of it and then spewing out this electric bullcrap energy everywhere, and it's just not healthy. It's not. So he needs to he needs to sit down. He needs to meditate. Maybe. I've always been a proponent of it. But, you come down to earth. You try to be reasonable with it, and you say, all right, these are the facts. This is what's going on. This was not a fact. This was not a fact. This is not a fact. These here, however, are the facts, and I'm going to try to live in that world as opposed to this, supernova of fake news Jamal Adams crap stratosphere that he's living in right now.
I asked a friend of mine yesterday who is a long time, been a Jet fan his whole entire life, loves the Jets, and, just thinks that the world of Jamal Adams as a player. And I asked him, I said, how do you feel now, what you're seeing? Whose fault is this? Is this we're the Jets, so this is the Jet, the Jet aura fault? Is it Joe Douglas's fault? Is it Adam Gates' fault? Is it Christopher Johnson's fault? And without a bat of an eye, he said, this is Jamal Adams acting like a baby. This has nothing to do with the guys that have been here for about a year. They're trying to get things straight. And, and he just felt like, as a Jet fan, somebody who buys tickets, he was personally insulted by Jamal Adams' actions and words.
Yeah, not surprised at all. I know that some Jet fans will say it's the Jets, they screw everything up. It's not the case here, in my opinion. Yeah, it's not. It's just a new regime who's trying to do things right, and you got to trust Joe Douglas. If you got reservations about Adam Gase, fine, I can understand that. To me, Joe Douglas has done nothing to not allow you to trust him, at least give him the opportunity to make this organization right. And he's got many, many years to figure that out as he signed a 6-year contract.